Well, guys, after months of doom and gloom, I finally have some positive news to report. Let's see, rates just came down a full point. According to Business Insider, the Fed is scheduled to make 4 rate cuts next year alone. And if you really want to get optimistic, analysts at ING are predicting 6 cuts next year. So, depending on who you subscribe to, that translates to either a 1% or a 1.5% reduction in rates next year. And all of that still doesn't even include the mortgage spread I've been warning about for over 6 months. Now, if that just went completely over your head, don't worry, I'll break it all down for you in a bit. But rather than dream about the future, let's first analyze where we're currently at. So stay tuned. All right, first up, let's take a look at last month's sales. Last month turned out to be the second worst month in 11 years when I first started tracking these metrics. We only sold a paltry 1,206 homes. This was a 9% reduction in sales from just last year. And let's be real, last November was a bust itself. But even if we look back at 2019 before all this madness ensued, this is still a 46% reduction in sales. So either way you cut it, last month's sales were abysmal. Well, with record-breaking low sales last month, clearly that means sales had to go down. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, I read an article in Business Insider that named Las Vegas the 13th city in the country where home prices have gone down. They clearly stated right here that year-over-year prices are down 2.8%. I mean, the media would never publish something that wasn't accurate, right? Well, there you have it. Last month, the median price actually rose to just over $448,000. While this was only a $500 increase over October, this now puts us up 5.5% over last year. And guess what, Business Insider? I predicted this 6 months ago in my June update. Last year. At the rate we're going, we should see parity in the median price sometime around August. Hell, even the median price, if it stays flat for the entire rest of the year, we'd end up about 5% above the median price last year. So try and wrap your head. So while we're already higher than this time last year, keep in mind that we peaked in May last year at $485,000. So even though prices have been climbing steadily all year, we're still almost $40,000 below our all-time high. Okay, now let's check out our most important metric, housing inventory. On the screen now, you can see that inventory managed to increase by 4% last month at 4,106 homes. After 7 months of decreasing inventory, we now have had 4 months of increases. But cool your jets. In 4 months, we've only added 500 homes. We literally have about half the homes available right now that we had the same time last year on the market. Keep that in mind for later when I discuss the future. Okay, next is housing inventory by price range. This metric illustrates to us how different price ranges are performing. The higher the number, the more competitive that price range is. This provides us insight as to what parts of the market are performing better or worse in relation to the overall market. Now, first up, let's take a look at the bulk of our market. Homes priced between $250,000 and $500,000. This dropped from 38% down to 36%. Next, we have 500 to 750. This drops slightly as well, from 27% down to 26%. Next, we have 750 to 1 million. This remained consistent at 23%. Now let's check out luxury. Homes priced between 1 million and 1.5 million. This actually managed to increase from 21% to 22%. Finally, we have the ultra luxury market of over $1.5 million. This increased as well from 16% to 17%. Now, overall, the market saturation is at 30%. So simply put, about 1 in every 3 homes for sale are currently under contract. Okay, now that we've got all this out of the way, let's see where this is actually going. As we've all heard ad nauseum, High mortgage rates have kept most buyers out of the game, as well as sellers that are unwilling to sell their homes and now take on a new mortgage that's twice as expensive. Frankly, my opinion hasn't changed one bit. If anything, recent news simply validated my earlier predictions. Right now, rates are sitting at 7%. The jobs report at the end of this month will either make or break this downward trend. But let's look at this conservatively. Let's say the Fed makes only 4 rate drops next year, each at 25 basis points, or 0.25% for those of you that don't speak finance out there. That translates to a 1% drop. That's now 6%. This is the exact number I've been warning everyone about all year. Once we break through 6%, the market will start moving and likely start moving fast. In the beginning of the video, I mentioned the mortgage spread. This is the difference between the 10-year Treasury and mortgage rates. Historically, this delta is 160 basis points, or 1.6%. Right now, this number is at 290. So if we bring the mortgage spread back down to normal and combine that with 4 rate cuts, that actually puts us at 4.7% for mortgage rates. Honestly, I don't think we'll even get that far next year. Why? Because once rates drop below 6%, the market is likely to blow up. I see this happening sometime around late spring to early summer. Let's say May, June. By this time, you'll have both buyers and sellers that have been sitting stagnant on the sidelines for 2 years. 2 years. If I've learned nothing in my 20 years of Vegas real estate, it's that rarely is the market calm. We're either going up or going down, and it's usually pretty dramatic when either starts. With the election less than a year away, I'd say it's a pretty safe bet that we'll see some dramatic moves in mortgage rates by mid-year. With mortgage rate cuts comes buyer activity. With buyer activity comes competition. With competition comes multiple offers and therefore higher sales prices. So if you're considering selling and purchasing a more expensive home, you're actually better to do that now, since you'll wind up paying more for that new home next year. Now, if you're looking to downsize, then wait until summer when you can get more for your current home despite paying more for the new home. Now, if you don't even own a property, and especially if you're on the lower end of the market, I'd advise to jump in right now. The market is slow. I've seen plenty of deals, and you can still negotiate favorable terms such as seller paying closing costs. Now, if you wait like everyone else, not only will you pay more for that property, but you'll likely have no room to negotiate and be bidding against multiple buyers. If you can stomach that current payment, you're likely better off locking in a lower home price now and refinancing in a year or two when rates become more favorable. Well, that's it for this month, guys. Please share with your friends and family. Be sure to like the video and, of course, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week with a new property tour and, of course, with another update next month. Deuces.